I broke up with my GF cause she went to see her ex. Name says it all. I'm tired of being called toxic by other people. It isn't toxic, it's a normal thing in a relationship not to go back to your ex. She always hated me having female friends, and when I say don't go and see your ex-boyfriend, apparently I'm manipulating and controlling and toxic. How do I tell him his hygiene turns me off? Okay, so as the title says. When I first met him he looked well, I mean in public everything was okay till we started dating and I started spending nights in his house. When he wipes his ass after doing number 2 and throws the toilet paper in the bin not wrapped, so anytime I can see his shit toilet paper, he leaves skid marks on his pants. When he pees all over the seat and floor. Today I found him poking his nose and flinging the mucus. I've never been so disgusted, and after all this he wants to have sex every day, and this has really killed my sex drive, especially towards him. How do I respectfully tell him to clean up? Oh, and I forget he's complaining I don't give him blowjobs. Like, how the fuck would I? I'm thinking of ending things with my fiancée. Her whereabouts on a given night are a mystery. My partner, 35F, and I, 35M, have been together for a little more than a year and a half. We got engaged in December, I moved into her place shortly after, then she deployed to the Middle East. She's in a country that's generally safe and there's a touristy city a couple of hours away. In June, she wanted me to visit the city to do her a favor. I was excited. I hadn't seen her in some 6 months. I proposed July 4th. She says, I don't want you to come, and tells me it's expensive. When I explain it's no more expensive than any other time, she says, I just don't want you to come. She was open to me visiting other dates, however. We had been having some disagreements, as I found out about a prior engagement to someone in the service that she kept hidden, so things were a little rocky already. I pressed the next day via text and she deflected. I pressed again the next time we got on a video call and she told me there were airstrikes in the area and she didn't tell me because it was confidential, but she could tell me now? And didn't want me to be concerned. None of this adds up. She regularly makes trips around the country, and others who I've spoken to have said the country is generally safe. Moreover, how would she know how dangerous things would be a month out? In her entire time there, I've not once heard anything about airstrikes. They are localized to this holiday weekend only. We're on a video call the night of. It's noon for me and evening for her. She says a couple of men got drunk and she had to drive to another location to bail them out of jail, and needed to wait on a vehicle to take her to the location. She spent 90 minutes to 2 hours talking about all the stuff she wanted to talk about. I was a little frustrated, because I was going through a lot also, and she didn't check in on me at all. When I expressed my frustration, she asked me a couple of perfunctory questions. How are things with you? And suddenly she receives a notification that the vehicle shows up. This timing, for me, is too convenient. I suppose it's possible, but with all of the secrecy around the day, I don't like this coincidence. I talked about it with her again after, but she's sticking to her story: airstrikes in the area, drug trafficking, and a generally unsafe environment. But her explanations don't seem to track. Maybe she went to a party, maybe she cheated, maybe both. I don't know, but I'm tired of ruminating about it. She comes home in a couple of weeks and I'm debating whether or not I want to stay. I feel like she's not shooting straight, and at this point I'm tired of asking and getting elusive answers. There is also ample evidence of gaslighting. Darvo, I never said that. You're too sensitive, etc. All of this is making my head spin, and the person I thought I knew is now a stranger. My 23F, usually loving mom said something unforgivable to me, and I don't know how to move forward. Exactly 2 weeks ago, my sister, 21F, and I got into a verbal disagreement about money that was owed. We are both college students. My sister has never worked and refuses to get a driver's license, so I've had to front a lot of expenses for her over the 2 years we've been going to the same school. Over the years I've realized a lot of manipulation went into this. For instance, about a year ago, I was fronting basically every grocery expense for her because we were in financial crisis. I believed she was broke, and I wasn't willing to let her starve. Turns out she actually had thousands of dollars stashed away. She spent it on an impulse purchase that was stolen exactly 3 days later. 2 years of getting screwed on money has taught me to set firm boundaries with her. Our parents are extreme enablers of her behavior and often used guilt tactics to get me to keep paying. After consulting with my friends and posting to Reddit, I realized I too was enabling this by not forcing her to pay for herself. Last semester I set up an agreement system where it was agreed that if she split the cost of gas with me and did my half of the dishes, I would take her to class all week. This included Fridays when she had class and I didn't. It is a long drive and the class was long, so I was basically trading 5 hours of my day off for half of a small sink worth of dishes. I really wasn't benefiting at all from this arrangement because the dishes would take 45 minutes max, but I wanted to throw her a bone. If she wasn't willing to get an actual job, I figured chores would be a reasonable exchange. I have never been unwilling to help my sister, I just don't want to feel like I'm getting completely screwed. That's the context. On to the argument. I told my sister that in exchange for the dinner I bought her, she could either pay me back or do a few dishes. This made her really angry and she said she'd only do it if I also took her to school on Thursday. My sister signed up for all virtual classes this semester except one, so she didn't need rides, except to her Tuesday/Thursday class. Her class was on an entirely different campus than the main one. It would have been completely out of my way and I refused to do it. Since she didn't want to do the dishes, I told her to pay me back. The argument escalated and we were both yelling things at each other. I told her to get a job and stop stealing from me because life isn't free. She balled her fist, put it in my face and said I deserved to get punched. It turned into a physical conflict at that point. We both got pretty bruised. My sister immediately called our mother and told her she was assaulted. My mom called me and decided to compare me to her brother, who is a severely abusive person who committed serious crimes like stabbing and signing children. To say that cut deep was an understatement. It might be the ugliest thing anyone has ever said to me. I've always been raised to be extra nice to my sister because my mom was an abused younger sibling, but this time they've both gone too far. Maybe it was bad that I fought back, maybe it was self-defense, I don't know at this point and I almost don't care. Either way, it is not acceptable to compare someone to a literal pedophile. That's over the top. I wouldn't even compare my sister to a knife-wielding pedophile and I maintain that she attacked me. My mom's stance changed quite a bit when she heard my side and not my sister's one-sided cry bullying, but I can't get over what she said. I've long suspected she's taken her anger at her brother out on me over the years and this confirmed it. I'm so sick of both of these women. I feel like I only have my dad right now. I've decided to cut my sister out of my life. I really don't want to have to cut my mom out too, especially since our relationship used to be strong, but I can't let them think it's okay to treat me like this. I'm counting the days till I can get away. I went to a prostitute today for the first time and I loved it. I'm a middle-aged man in the UK and I've not had sex, or even touched a woman in about 5 years. I'm not keen on dating as I don't want to live with anyone and I'm happy with my lot for the most part. But I miss the touch of a woman and just holding someone. I was really nervous but used a website to look at escorts on there and I was amazed at how beautiful some of the women were. This is alien to me and I really had misgivings about doing it. I messaged a woman who was in her 30s and she was really friendly. She said she was available when I was and we arranged to meet. When she opened the door I couldn't believe how stunning she was. She was incredibly smiley and just appeared pleased to see me. As a divorced man of some years this seemed amazing to me. I exchanged money and I once again held a real, beautiful woman who gave the impression that she really liked what we did. I'm not so naive to believe she liked me that way. This was a transaction, albeit one that felt nice to me. I loved every second and we cuddled for the last 30 minutes, her hair was gorgeous, her smile was gorgeous, I was just in awe. Anyway, this was completely out of character for me but I'm so pleased I did it. It made it clear how starved of affection I've been and I will happily do this again. I felt like I needed to tell someone but none of my friends would be open to listening and I think if I told them, they'd likely look down on me and I may even lose them.